Hey folks, and welcome to a video on one of, I'm sure will be the first of several busted things you can do with graphs. Now we're about a day and a half into League, and I've spent several hours testing different things, and I discovered an interaction that's really interesting between Arkhon's tools and one of the new graphs. Now before I detail it, I'm going to show you empirically what this looks like in-game. It's about 55% more damage, give or take, and it does require 2 button presses. However, it's only 2 button presses, and it lasts for about 10.8 seconds. And you get 114% fizz gained as extra, which in my PoE as I have it set up currently is about 55% more damage. The character on the left is identical to the character on the right. The only difference are these 2 button presses. And you can see the damage difference is pretty substantial. I'm using Exsanguinate instead of Reap here because Reap would kill them almost instantly, and no conditional buff, so no flask, nothing like that. The interaction we're going to be looking at today is with the Grey Wind Howls. I have a level 31. I think it can go up to level 34, but the difference between 30 and 34 is not substantial. And the Arkhon's Tools belt, which was one of the things that I most loved from the last patch. Now, the way Arkhon's Tools works is when you equip it, you will then become affected by your Skitterbot's aura. And you get a new Skitterbot, right? So there's a Chill Skitterbot, a Shock one, and a new Scorch one. And each one of those is a cold, fire, and lightning elemental ailment. Now let's take a look at Grey Wind Howls. While afflicted with an elemental ailment, while this graph is equipped, it will remove all the elemental ailments from you and grant fizz gained as extra of that elemental damage type. Now we have all 3 going, right? We have Scorch, we have Shock, and we have Chill. But this skill has a cooldown of 8 seconds, which means if we get afflicted by one elemental ailment, it's going to consume that, remove it from us, and then we'll be on cooldown for 8 seconds. So how can we get all 3 of these at the same time? Well, the way Skitterbots work is if you throw a mine or a trap, the Skitterbots will run and chase the mines, meaning we can move them off of us and then shift them around however we want. I'm going to throw some mines over here, let my Skitterbots run over there. And when they come back, you'll see that I am now affected by these elemental ailments. And we're going to take advantage of this to generate 114% fizz gained as extra. Watch again what this looks like when I do it in this Shaper fight. You'll see the Skitterbots run over, and then I get all 3 ailments briefly, and then I get the buff. We can also inspect this in our hideout using the tooltip. Now without the buff, I'm at around 38k, and then I send my Skitterbots away, and when they come back, I'm suddenly up to 63k. Now having these ailments on you is kind of terrible. The downside of Archons is supposed to be that you have to mitigate these, right? So what I'm doing is I'm toggling Purity of Elements. So at all times I am ailment immune, and I toggle Purity of Elements off. I pick up all 3 of them, and then I turn it back on. It's an instant cast with a 1-second cooldown, which is great for logging into bosses. You probably wouldn't want to do this in a map. Now there are some really good mods to get on the graph itself that can improve the buff and lengthen its duration. The 2 that I'm using are the Grey Wind Howls used by this graph grants 10% additional physical damage gained as extra elemental damage. I think this one is by far the most important. It brings it up from 28 to 38. You can also get +4 levels, which will give you an additional 2% physical gained as extra elemental. And then extending the duration of the graph skill, I think it rolls up to 35%, is also really nice. This brings the total buff duration up to 10.8 seconds. There are some other ways to play this too. When I mentioned this tech in my Discord, Kamal said he had been using the same thing but slightly differently. You could have not quite fully capped ailment avoidance, and then you'll infrequently get a pretty big buff up to 38%, right? And the upside of the graph is that it will remove the ailment from you, so it's a little bit less dangerous, though this isn't something you can control, and there might be situations where you end up having an ailment and can't drop it because the skill is on cooldown. The biggest upside though is that this is a 0 button thing, and you could do this in maps if you want. Now because I know I'm going to get asked, I'm going to share what my other graph is, and that is Heart of Flame. It's a layup take. It's so much damage mitigation, and because we're spending life, it instantly procs as soon as it comes off cooldown because I'm always spending life, and it happens as soon as you are missing life, which means I have a rather large Molten Shell up quite a lot. Now on this, I am using the CDR because I want it to be up as much as possible. And there might be some other better mods for this. I haven't really looked too much, but highly recommend Heart of Flame. If you are playing Exsanguinate Reap Miner and looking for a second graph, this is the one that I am using. All right, I'm going to do probably a bit longer, like weekend long update. Right now, I'm going to get ready to probably hop on Twitch. If you want to come ask me any questions or see how my build's doing, I'm probably going to do some more boss carry service for a while. And then crafting some gear so that I could probably get into Ubers a bit later today. All right, I hope your league search's been amazing. Feel free to come by and say hi, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.